I want to cheat it.
To the cheat dance. Cheat dance.
I want to cheat it.
To the cheat dance. Cheat.
I want to cheat it. Because I'm just needing a 2x of my rupee. I'm not needing like trying to get to 4 million, right? I just need to get the 2x so that I can cheat it.
G'day everybody and welcome to the happy hour. G'day to True Blue and 43 OG. How are you guys going?
Good, man. Loving it. That was funny. We all just needed 2x, don't we? That was gold. I was laughing at that one.
That's the roller coaster. I just love how that guy's just got zero emotions when he's on that. Just like,
so good.
It's the crypto roller coaster, and we're here to pump our bags and get excited and have a beer. That's the way on a Friday afternoon. I've actually, that is going everywhere. That is full frothy. Cheers, lads.
Very nice. Cheers.
Oh, what is this? Yeah, I've got a this beer was literally left in my fridge by a friend. It's hazy as. It's a Gage Roads beer, so it's all right.
Do you need to roll that one before you drink it? You know those beers that you need to roll, like the
the old
school
things, and you cut your finger ripping the ring pull off. No, it's it's Gage Roads. It's a West Aussie beer. So, but anyway, good to see everyone in the chat, and g'day to the replay gang and to everyone. 43, your camera has frozen. It looks like you're just doing
still showing us his cam.
It's the perpetual Schweppes shill.
All right, sure let me see. Maybe I'm
just maybe come back out and come back in or something.
Yep.
And no, there you go. It's all fixed. How have you been, True Blue?
Yeah, pretty good, man. Yeah, sitting tight. Just what more can we say really at the moment? Just sitting tight and watching everything unfold, and cruising along. I don't know. There's a few things happen this week, I guess, with there
always is, man,
coming out and stuff. But yeah, otherwise felt like a little bit of a quiet week other than that.
Oh, really? Okay. I thought there was heaps going on, man. It's just like there's been lots of stuff happening. There was that 9mm token launch last night.
Yep.
I was like staying up, trying to get locked in. And but yeah, just like mucking around with obviously like small amounts of money. So it's no big deal. But in terms of conviction bags, I think Hexon has been doing really well. Hex on PulseChain. I think that ratio has been looking pretty good against Pulse. And I think we've had a bit of a bounce for Pulse. So I haven't really been checking the prices that much.
It's been nice to see some green, that's for sure.
It's been nice to see Hex closer to that 1 cent mark. Yeah, I'm not sure if it's past it or not, but it got close. It's just nice to see it at least there.
Yeah.
Like it's when it's below 1 cent, I don't feel great.
Okay, yeah. Look, I mean, I just think of it as like crisis-opportunity. It's that whole thing where, do you look at it as a crisis or do you look at it as opportunity? Like you can frame your own sort of
so much opportunity. So much opportunity for so long. The opportunity has just been unbelievable. This tsunami of opportunity for fucking 3 years. Yeah. Unbelievable.
It's basically like price is inversely proportional to opportunity. So as the price goes down, your opportunity just goes up. So it's like, oh yes,
that's the correct.
I mean, that's
framing.
if you believe it's going to go back up, right? Like I do. I just sort of look at like a long time frame sort of outlook, and then I sort of think, you know, if you think about what the guys sacked the Pulse, like the big whales, they got up to, I think it was a 2.5x, right?
Yeah.
So they were effectively buying like the best, like if you're putting in like whatever it was, tens of millions of dollars at the top sacks, they were getting that 2.5x multiplier. They were effectively buying it at 404.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, so if everyone's just buying it at like a 1x multiplier, you're getting it 0001, but the best price you could have got was 404.
Yeah.
So somewhere between, even if you were like a substantial whale, like maybe you were getting like a 1.5 or a 2x or something like that, then your range might be around that sort of 405. So if you can buy in now at 405, you're effectively buying prices that you would have need to be in a pool with, you know, half a dozen Saudis and, you know, putting in 10 milli each. So from that point of view, you know, if you frame it that way, like in terms of like a, you know, trying to cope with that opportunity mindset, you're actually getting in, you're buying the prices that people only had access to if you were part of a large pool.
Exactly.
Yeah. And look, I think it's fair to say that you know, part of the reason that we stream is because we do have a positive outlook on this, you know, in this ecosystem. There is a lot going on behind the scenes, like, and I wouldn't blame the price action on like what's going on with the SEC entirely, but it's certainly, there is like no doubt in my mind that the SEC's action, its civil case, has an effect. There is an effect on the sentiment. So I just, you know, I look forward to seeing what happens a bit later in the year when in October, I believe there's maybe something happening in court. There's a potential for it to be thrown out at that point, I believe. If it's on jurisdictional grounds. So let's see what happens in the future. But you know, I think that the fundamental, like the contract, the Hex contract, for example, its fundamental utility from a digital asset perspective is that you have it and you have an option to completely limit your access to it, but in exchange for that, you can get more of it. So there's that. There's like, you can get more of something by saying, I'm not going to touch it, you know, and it's a hard lock type situation. So that's I think in the digital asset space, that is of great utility. And it means that if prices can at some stage go, you know, in a positive direction, people who have been locked up for 3 years, 2 or 3 years, and have been earning those extra tokens, they will hopefully do well, you know, if the price can go up enough. So
the yield sees that price go up as well. That's I mean, that could be one thing. Is, you know, a lot of people getting shaken out, and maybe sometimes staking prevents people from panic selling the lows. So, you know, that's like one use case you could say for staking is like if your sort of mental fortitude is not quite there, if you get too emotionally attached to the daily price or the 15-minute price candles, then maybe staking it can save you from yourself in terms of, like, you know, not selling the lows. Well, I guess we don't know. That's always the thing, isn't it? You know, it depends on the individual staking ladder, how that's timed, and you know, we don't really know what's going to happen in the future. But we just.
By the way, I just wanted to comment on something that we have touched on briefly here. There was a gentleman who had a private ruling, and I don't believe this is like there's any secrecy. This is public information.
Oh yeah.
This relates to Australian taxpayers. This is not tax advice. This is just I'm giving you some information for you to go away and maybe discuss it with your tax agent. They can go do some research and find this private tax ruling in relation to HEX in Australia. And this is a private ruling that was issued by the ATO, which is the Australian Tax Office. And what it relates to, and this is my understanding of it, is that a lot of tax agents will see the yield that comes out of a HEX stake as ordinary income. They will choose to view it in that way. So that what that means for a lot of people, a lot of tax accountants will take that, and whether or not you sell it at the end of a stake, they will say, well, you owe tax on it, right?
Sure.
So what I understand this ruling said, and once again, I repeat, you have to go and find this out yourself and speak to your accountant about it.
Not tax advice.
Yeah, not tax advice whatsoever. But my understanding is that the private ruling has said that when the stake itself ends, that the proportion of it that comes out that is deemed as yield is not actually assessed as ordinary income. And my reading of it is, and it could be incorrect, ask your tax agent, that for that individual who got that private ruling, it means that it's the date of the end stake would be the start of the capital gains event or the capital event, the capital acquisition event. So if you hold it after the end of the stake, if you held it for a year, then, and you sold it after that time, you held it liquid and sold it after that time, then you would get the capital gains discount. And if you sold it within that time, you wouldn't. But that is just my reading of it. I'm not a tax agent. Don't take my advice for it. Go and do your own research. Like, go and read the tax rule, go read the private ruling, and then speak to your accountant and see if whether that could apply to you, which, it would be hard to, it'd be hard for me to see a situation where that doesn't apply to anyone that's interacted with that same HEX contract function.
Yeah, that was a private ruling, and but yeah, you might be able. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Your camera has frozen, mate, and it looks like you've got some sort of funny face going on. That's right.
How about now?
Yeah, that's probably better. Yeah. It's just if it's going to be static, you may as well just turn the camera off type thing.
I'll just have the ball.
Yeah.
No, as the crypto adoption gets stronger and stronger and more involved, I reckon we'll see the different tax rulings sort of change, probably in favor of crypto a bit more over the long term. And so people that are staked probably have nothing to worry about for a long time if they've got them 5-10 years away or whatever, and it might be a much better position then than if you were to end a stake in the next year or two. We might be in a much better spot then of those types of different rulings with the tax stuff. So I think it's just
individual's choice
and have your stakes out there. But
it's definitely a positive to not have an automatic tax event when you end a stake, because ending a stake is non-negotiable. It's not like, you can do good accounting, I guess you can run that function, but ending the actual stake and actually having access to the tokens is a non-negotiable, for most people, I guess. And for that to be considered not to be considered ordinary income, like the yield component, that's I guess a pretty positive thing from the perspective of a hexagon, I would say.
Yeah. So in the way I've done it is I've always taken the yield and had to do like a manual transaction with like Coinly and treat that as income when you end stake. So that's how I've sort of used
that's how I think most people that's how most people have, like, I have argued with my tax agent over this for years.
Yeah, man.
And
it's like everyone
I
will argue this.
a level
It's like,
I feel so vindicated by being able to send them that
ruling thing.
ATO private ruling and say, see, I've been telling you for years, this is how I think it should be. And I've listen, I've argued with them, but I've always gone with what they've said to do.
Yeah,
and how
exactly.
they've said to
You've got to do what the ATO sort of says. Yeah, that's the thing.
That's the thing. The ATO never said anything, they never actually said anything. This was just their interpretation of what the yield component, how the yield component should be treated. And in this private ruling, they actually say in the third, like there's 3 sections to it. In the last section, they actually say they give the ATO gives the reasons why they don't deem that yield to be ordinary income. They're like some of the words I think in it are something like there's nothing ordinary about this type of income. It's like it's not ordinary income. So it's just interesting
I understand. It's like they don't understand how it actually the hex contract burns the tokens when you stake and then it mints them when you end stake, and it just thinks that you're adding them to a pool and then you're getting them back from the pool. And it's just it's and then you've got to treat that yield that you get as income. So, but yeah, I mean, we probably should not give any advice. So we'll just have to say
the only advice I will give. I do want to give some advice is go find this ruling and speak to your tax accountant about it.
Yeah,
that's the advice I give. Like, I'm not going to give you advice on how to then go do your taxes. That's not for me to say, but go find that tax ruling and then go and speak to your accountant about it and see, maybe there's a way for you to get a refund of some of the tax you've paid in the past, or maybe you have to pay more tax. I don't fucking know. What do I know?
Yeah. Maybe we should say hello to the chat here. So I feel like we're neglecting the chat. What is up, DJ Creditus? I hope I said that right. Our local DJ that was on the Sydney cruise. That was awesome.
Oh, the Greek
what's
guy.
Up? That's a joke from about 15 streams ago, man. So yeah, that's funny. But,
you have to be a regular to get that one.
yeah, that's cool. No, he's a legend. So what's up? And that's you.
That's me. Look out.
I'm like, oh Jesus, so much chat. Is like it's one of the guys on the stream that's chatting. So no, there's 37 people watching. G'day to everyone out there. And yeah, so True Blue, that was funny that in the private chats we were having, and Tangent thought that you were Blue Bum for ages. And he's like, wait a minute. And you're like, yeah, we should ask Bluey about this ICOSA thing and whether the Alex's contracts are going to come out. And he's like, wait, what? I thought True Blue was Bluey. And it's like, So yeah, that was funny because I think a lot of people thought that Jexa was Blue Bum as well for ages.
Yeah,
people kept saying, and then when they saw Bluey, I think they just, I don't know why, they just conflated Jexa and Blue Bum together. And then so now we've got Bluey and True Blue. They got no chance.
Yeah. Well, so what was the other name? True Bum. I think they came up with it.
True Bum.
True Bum.
Yeah, that was me.
Right.
I came up with True Bum.
That's it.
I'll take that one.
Yeah. What is up? Hi ho Hex. How you going? Pumping Class has got the sushi going. DJ's onto that one. What else we got here? It's been working. Jim, no doubt. Oh, the 9mm launch. Yeah, I was up. I was locked in, but then it was a bit of a shit show, to be honest. So I don't want to elaborate too much, but it was, I think, it's a lot of people got the 9mm token for as like an airdrop anyway. If you had, I think, the Pulse OGs and maybe just for providing liquidity on V3 on 9mm. So yeah, that's pretty cool, but it could be interesting to see how that's paired up later on. What's up, John? Thanks for the Kanga. Class is just talking about sushi. McNuggets, what's up, bro?
Yo,
Wall to wall. Oh, filling us with cheer, like always.
Always
Worst
so
mistake was to
positive.
say. So cheerful. Yeah, I mean, I'm not a huge staker. Like, I probably would be more on the outs with the Hex community in some regard, in terms of like I'm more of a trader than a staker. But I think if you are going to do stakes, you probably have to think about it over. If you're not going to sell Hex if you just say, right, I'm just not going to sell it for like a year. If you're going to keep it liquid, you may as well just stake it, right? Like if you just committed to not selling it for a year. But yeah, if you think that you are going to need to sell it because you're overextended or whatever, then maybe just send it out for 15 years. Like that's not a great idea. So yeah, everyone has their own risk tolerance and like on the risk curve and different time frames and how overextended they are versus whether they need that money. So yeah, it's not meant to be something that you do over long time frames if you need that money in the short term. I think that's like obvious, right? Like that's like self-explanatory. What's up, Tom?
Can I just speak to that?
I should just
sure.
I was gonna say good day.
Just the worst mistake. Yeah, I agree with you. Like wall-to-wall TV is always full of very positive stuff there all the time. Always saying good stuff, always contributing.
That's okay. Look, we can have a conversation. Yeah, that's okay.
I think he should change his handle to wall FUD. I think that is.
Well, Eric Wall to Wall, you reckon?
Eric Wall to Wall FUD. Isn't it interesting that it's got the name Wall, and like both Wall to Wall TV and Eric Wall both FUD a lot. It's interesting. Eric Wall to Wall FUD. Okay.
Anyway,
I forget what I was saying.
That's cool. Look,
anyway.
I don't mind. I don't mind people having opposing opinions, and then we can weigh them up and choose the merit of them, and that's okay as long as everyone's respectful. I think that's important.
I think if we're going to be selective about the dates, if you want to like say, okay, well, if you bought at the top and if you staked at the top, and your stake just came out now, and you decided to sell, then that is clearly, that's you're picking two dates, but you could also pick different dates earlier on, and then
you're cherry picking data,
and then we it's yet to be seen what happens in what's going to happen in the future. We don't know what is going to happen. Right. It could be I can see potentially a situation where in the foreseeable future, if prices go up, that people end the stake and it's very positive for them.
Yeah, it could very well be.
Or maybe not. We don't know.
Turn them through the code and on-chain data. Good point. Get a hexagon loss in Asia. How you going there, mate? Yeah, Ash is in the house. We've got a lot of cool cats in the house. Good to see everyone here. So yeah, but there's been some interesting things. What is it? Wookiee Jedi Pulse Crab. Why not? That's awesome. There's been a lot of things happening in this sort of political landscape and macro and things like that. And I feel like there's a little bit of a shift going on, particularly with Trump and all that stuff. Did you see all that? I think I've got a video of it here. Maybe I'll just play the video and then we can chat about it. So tell me if you put the thumbs up, maybe if you can hear that.
Thank you for the statement. Yeah, with the goggles on.
A lot of the smartest people in crypto are moving their businesses out of the U.S. because they're scared of the U.S.'s regulations.
Because of the hostility.
Correct.
Yeah, crypto is moving out of the U.S. because of hostility toward crypto.
Correct. So what are you going to do to stop it?
Well, we'll stop it because I don't want that. I want that. If we're going to embrace it, we have to let them be here.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for the statement. Yeah, with the goggles on.
With the goggles on.
I like the goggles, the Pit Vipers. He's obviously a Mog fan, I think, that one. But yeah, that was pretty funny. There was, I think, another one as well from the same thing. Let's see if I can pull that up real quick.
They are against it. The Biden doesn't even know what it is. If you ask Biden, sir, are you for or against crypto? What's that? What the? Get me off the stage. He's saying, get me off the stage. No, he has no idea. But look, Gensler is very much against it. The Democrats are very much against it. And I say this, a lot of people are very much for it, probably a lot of the people in this group. And I'm fine with it. I want to make sure it's good and solid and everything else, but I'm good with it. And if you like crypto in any form, and it comes in a lot of different forms, if you're in favor of crypto, you better vote for Trump. They are against it.
He runs these rallies well, doesn't he? He's a real, I don't know, like people person when he's talking in those regards. Whereas the other, he has general knowledge on lots of stuff. And obviously we know he's, understands a little bit about crypto, but yeah.
I'm a little bit more skeptical. I'm a little bit,
sorry.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. I'm a little bit more skeptical though, because I don't necessarily agree with everything that Trump says. Like by a long stretch, it's just like, or any politician really. I'm a little bit disillusioned by politicians. But I think that what that sort of shows is that maybe that they see that there's a sector of the community that are into crypto. And he's just trying to glean votes. Like he's just literally just trying to say the right things so that people will vote for him.
Absolutely.
But if he follows through with it, maybe that could actually help us. So I'm kind of seeing a little bit behind what, their motives by just saying, oh yeah, let's just pander to a section of the community to get their vote. But it could be worse, right? Like it could be just like him saying, crypto's a scam and we're going to increase the regulation. So I'm really glad that at least someone is, going this way. So yeah, maybe Trump, if he does get in, might sack Gary Gensler. I don't know if he has the power to do that, but maybe there'd be some shake up at the SEC and in the way that it works. But yeah, that would be amazing to see.
It would be. In some ways though, there's such a big movement with crypto, and yes, they can stop the exchanges and they can, put a harsh tax on it and stuff like that. But if we do end up, if that does happen and we're able to find a way to, use it as peer-to-peer and whatever in our own right and decentralized ways, that they're losing a lot, aren't they? So they're better off running with the movement and accommodating it somehow and as best as possible. So they can get the most out of it too. So yeah, I really think eventually the tide will turn. And hopefully they're with us.
Yeah, it's just a matter of time before they sort of, the adoption sort of happens at the higher levels. I saw this that MasterCard. So this was a Watch a Guru thing, which I think has got some good links and things. But basically, they were saying that MasterCard, JP Morgan, Visa, Wells Fargo, and other top US banks are testing shared ledger technology for tokenized asset settlements. So tokenized assets and their shared ledger technology. So it might be like private blockchains, or it might be, their own blockchains and things like that. But there's some pretty big names that are kind of leaning into blockchain and tokenized assets. So that's pretty bullish for me. Like, you need that adoption. Some of these, the market caps and things of some of these industries are just tremendous. Like they're just out of control. So crypto just pales in terms of the amount of money invested in some of these other things. So if you can get these guys at least to participate in blockchain and tokenizing assets and whatever, at some point, you can see that sort of wealth transfer into maybe Bitcoin or Ethereum, and then, Ethereum. So it's like this, I guess, Hart's law, where the, things that are bonded will share the wealth transfer, I guess. It's actually kind of an interesting concept when you think about how you give something value, how you sort of create a meme coin out of thin air, and then you just go, well, if I pair it in a pool with wrapped Pulse, I've given it value, because its value is just the ratio of how many of those tokens are in that pool with respect to the tokens that have value. But Pulse's only has value because it's in a ratio with respect to wrapped ETH or DAI. And then, so if you kind of follow that thing down, you can kind of understand how things have value just as a ratio of the things that they're bonded with. So yeah, it's an interesting concept. And I think hopefully as more traditional finance starts to come in, we'll start to see a flow of that economic energy into crypto.
Well, for that to happen, you do need to have, you know, the politicians on side. And, you know, one thing's for sure, I mean, just touching on what you said about, you know, not having, you know, that much faith in what politicians say or do. One thing's for sure, politicians, they will blow in the direction of the wind without doubt. If the wind's blowing one way or the wind changes, they will change. And we've actually seen that this week. A good example of that is we've had politicians this week in Australia talking about, people's right to refuse vaccines, when at the time of before, when you know, things like AstraZeneca were being pushed on the unsuspecting public. Well, some of us suspecting, but were being pushed onto the public. They were out there saying it's safe and effective, and you should definitely take it. And now we see these same politicians coming out saying, "Oh no, it was the states. The states were in charge of it. It was their issue." So that just demonstrates that I think it's in their DNA to just blow with the wind. So right now, politicians who are against crypto could very well be for crypto in future if the wind changes direction.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, they kind of flip-flop, don't they? And they retrofit narratives, and they kind of reframe things, and it's I mean, I don't want to get into that too much, because
I mean, but that's what they're in. They need to get elected, so they have to be popular. They have to come across, be supporting the popular thing at the time, the narrative. And a lot of things they do,
and a lot of things that they promise pre-election is different to how their priorities change post-election. So you have to keep that in mind.
You mean politicians don't do what they say they're going to do?
Believe it or not, you've got to take what they say with a grain of salt. Yeah, who would have thought? No, I really think that they are just sociopaths at some level, and they are good. I can hear your sarcasm, so that's cool. But yeah, that's I think that's an interesting thing, the way that I wonder if it is that sociopaths sort of are attracted to those positions of power in politics, or whether it's just that power corrupts, and that they sort of go, well, we were really, wanting these things to happen, but then now things have changed, and now we're actually going to do the opposite. Because, so I don't know, but
I think power corrupts, mate. I think power,
absolutely.
You have to be a very special individual to get in. But that's why they came up with democracy. That's why they came up with it, because there's very, very few people. You can have a benevolent dictator. It's possible. There are examples of it in history. However, they are few and far between, unfortunately. And I guess they came up with democracy as an idea, but unless we keep them on very short leashes, politicians tend to go off and do whatever they think is best, rather than representing the will of the people.
Yeah, there needs to be some feedback, that's for sure. Otherwise, they're unchecked. That's never a good thing. But yeah, that's probably the same with any system.
I've got an awesome idea.
You always need feedback to get, in terms of a system, you need to make an optimum system successful. You need
I have a great idea,
feedback to see. Yeah, go ahead.
I have a fantastic idea. You need to pay politicians more. First of all, I think they need to be paid more. That's the first idea. But
I'm out.
they
I'm out.
also hang on. No. Let me finish. That was the first part. So if you can swallow that, let me just give you the second part. And then we fit every single politician with like a device that gives them a really minuscule electric shock, right? Really, really tiny electric shock. And every voting individual in the country has the ability to send a very, very tiny electric shock. So it might
that's
be
not going to work. People are
if-
going to sit there just hammering that all day long.
No, but think about this, right? If like 100,000 people do the shock, it has no, like, they could probably just live with that, no problem. They can sleep with it. But like, if half the country are just shocking one politician, right, then they can't sleep, they can't function, and maybe they just have to leave politics.
You can't electrocute politicians, man. This is just like,
yes, you
there's no
can.
point going down this.
Yes, you can, and we're going to do it.
That's good to me. How do we sign up?
I got a better idea. Right? You just Thanos half of the jobs, right? So you just cut, like you do the Vivek Ramaswamy thing where you just go, righto, we're going to cut.
He was like 80%, wasn't he?
Oh, well, maybe 80%, but I'm just saying, let's just
just
call it 50-50, right?
guy.
So you just Thanos them, 50% of them lose their job. And then it becomes more competitive, right? And then it's like, yeah, you can pay them more, but give them some sort of metrics that you have to sort of say, okay, well, how have you contributed positively to society? Show me how. And then you, with some objective metric that you can, and then just get them to sort of compete for that highest position, because it's just bloated. There's too many of them and they just wing it. They half them fall asleep in the bloody backbench and everything. And there's no consequence. You know, if that was a business, they would have been sacked. So, yeah, it would be relatively easy to sort out without electrocution, is what I'm saying.
Dude, I reckon electrocution is like a good idea for some of these people.
What about if they fall asleep in the backbench during Parliament? Then they get electrocuted.
Shock them.
That's fair game.
What was that game? There was a game. Do you remember that game? You used to like the electric shock game. I forget what was that game.
Not like Operation or something where it buzzes. Or you mean? No,
not the buzzer. There was a game where you actually got like a shock. Like it had 9-volt batteries in it or something. And
yeah. That's an old memory, man.
That was old.
That was back when, like, you could get away with all sorts of stuff in the 90s or 80s or whatever. Is there anything else?
Crypto Class wants to like use Russian tactics on Gensler.
Oh God. I think I've missed a bunch of the stuff.
The question is, who's going to apply? Here. Who's going to apply that? They
all kind of suck. I think free speech has got a good point here. They all kind of suck. That's the thing, isn't it? Conspiracy theorists are like 145 and 0. Yeah, that's kind of true. And then it's like, oh, by the way, they're fully used aliens. Yeah, we were just, the whole thing. We'd be like, yeah, we know, bro. Like, you lied about everything else now. Everything interesting go to Pauline Hanson. Oh, their politics are so bad that, I don't know. I mean, people tend to do what's in their best interest, right? So people tend to just vote for whoever they think is going to give them the best outcome, like financially. That's what I think it boils down to.
I agree with that wholeheartedly. I think most people think about their hip pocket.
Yeah, they think about how financially this government is going to affect them. They hear them say the rhetoric that, oh, you're going to cut daycare costs. Oh, I've got children. Oh, I might vote for them. Oh, what are you going to do? Tax the ultra wealthy? Wait a minute. I'm ultra wealthy. That's going to affect me. It's just like they don't really care about how it affects anyone else. They just think, how will this affect me?
Yeah, it's how it affects your hip pocket. And like for example, we've got tax cuts coming through on the 1st of July in Australia, and those tax cuts basically will apply to anyone earning up to $150,000 a year. Which in US dollars is about, what is that? About $100,000 US dollars. Yeah, but I think most people in Australia are probably earning between maybe 70 and 120, like in that range. Like the
Possibly, yeah.
average, I think that's sort of like in the bell curve distribution. That's what most people are earning. So all those people are going to get like good tax cuts. I wonder what that's going to do for, I wonder whether that's going to have an effect on inflation at all. Like there's going to be more money in the system from the 1st of July. People are going to have more spendable income, more disposable income as of the 1st of. Will they just be paying down debts, or will they go out and spend the money? Like, what's going to happen? And is that going to have an effect on, what the Reserve Bank of Australia does with interest rates?
Yeah, it is interesting to think whether we will follow the US in terms of when they start cutting rates, then we'll start cutting, or whether we'll preempt the cuts. But inflation is crazy. And when you start looking at inflation adjusted values of anything, then you start to see its real value. It's like when you look at like a meme coin on PulseChain and you're sort of going, oh, wow, this, meme coin's either been doing really well or really bad. And then you price it in Wrapped Pulse and you kind of go, oh, it's pretty much just doing what Pulse is doing. Like it's gone up like 5% or down 5%, but you could literally have just been holding Pulse. So it's like the ratio. So when you think of like an asset or something, like even like real estate or whatever, and you kind of go, oh, okay, 7% linear growth over 10 years is a doubling. So if you bought a house in 2014 for 500 grand, 10 years later, it's $1 million. That's
it's compounded
in value. That's compounded. Yeah. So that's 7% per annum compounded over 10 years. That's just like a rule of thumb thing. So it's like a doubling. But then so you go, oh, wow, my 500K is now $1 million. But then hang on, what's inflation? So if you could argue that inflation is somewhere between 5 and 7% maybe. So once you adjust it for inflation, it's not that great in terms of the actual, you've got more dollars, but then those dollars have got less purchasing power.
100%.
So in terms of what they can buy, you're not that much off. But also your debt, I guess, is the thing, is that your debt is priced in the dollars of that time. So if you can pay it off with, tenants, like if you've got multiple investment houses and then you can, pay off those houses with the rental income, then that debt is based in like the dollar's worth of when you bought the house. So that's pretty much the only way that sort of works. But yeah, inflation, you have to take into account, the inflation adjusted value of some of your investments. And then you realize that they actually haven't done as well as they, as you think they may have. Yeah. Klaus is making some funny jokes.
Tickety flick.
Lickety flick. Tickety flick. No comment. Dumplings. Ooh, love dumplings.
Yum.
Bro, don't make me hungry now. What else is going on? For Labour, for the first time, Anna regretted it. If it makes you feel any better, Ash, it probably made no difference.
Yep.
Like, you know what I mean? Like,
I actually regret signing up, like registering to vote. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's an argument that can be made both ways, because if you don't vote at all and you opt out of the system, well, then you can't really complain about the system either.
Yeah.
But if you vote for one and you think that they're going to do something, and then you realize that if the other one had gotten power, they probably would have done the same thing anyway, and it kind of makes no difference. And then you realize it's just a popularity contest. So, and they're going to do what they do.
I'm starting to think that, because I've voted for everyone. I've voted for left, the right, everyone. I've never been like just vote for one. But I'm starting to think I just need to vote for the people like I think where it matters most is probably in the Senate, and to vote for like the ones who are more on the fringe, who can potentially have a balance of power in the Senate, and then everything has to sort of go their way for anything to pass. And I'm starting to think maybe that is the play. That is the play. Just vote for the ones who are like, for example, the ones who are against the digital ID, because Labor and Liberal are both for it. So I guess in the Senate, it wouldn't matter because it would pass anyway. But like anything else, you know, usually they should be, one side should be against it, because that's what system we're supposed to have. We're supposed to have a system where one party is for something and the other party is against it.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah, free speech makes some good points. And yeah, wages are not increasing with that rate of inflation. That's also an important thing, because you know, people kind of look at inflation and they kind of go, well, oh, the interest rates were, you know, 18% back in the, you know, late 80s or whatever. And it's like, yeah, but your house costs like 2 pumpkins and a, you know, whatever, like 50 grand or whatever. So it's like,
it was like
80% of a pumpkin is not much.
It's like your wage, your income was like 25 or 20% of a house.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just mucking around, but if you look at like that ratio of your
actually
income
what it was
versus
back
your,
then.
Yeah.
People's wages were like 20% of a house back then, and now people's wages are like a 20th of a house.
Yes. So yeah, if you look at it like as a metric of like mortgage stress, and if you think of like, you know, a small percentage of a large number can sometimes be far greater than a large percentage of a smaller number. It's almost equivalent now in terms of mortgage stress from like a, you know, income per versus mortgage than it was back when the interest rates were at 18% anyway.
Do you think it's going to come back? Do you think that ratio between wages earned, like the average wage, and house prices will come back in future? I mean, because clearly the money printing goes into in Australia, all the money printing ends up in the housing market, like in the residential housing market. Because just look at the residential housing prices over the last 30 years. Just look at them.
But see, some of that is like migration as well. So so when there was lots of lockdowns and border stuff, that, you know, there was no real migration going on. And then say, well, particularly in my state, now that there's open borders, we've got a lot more influx of people, then there's a lot more economic energy, I guess, in a sense. And the demand for housing is high, but the supply stayed the same. So that's made a huge bubble in our real estate at the moment. But then, yeah, I wonder, will it crash? Will the real estate market just have a cycle and then, you know, have a bit of a downturn, and then
could it be stagnant for a period of time, like rather than crashing? Because for it to crash, you need to have everyone. For something to crash, you need lots of people to sell it and no buyers. I don't see that happening in the residential market. I see what's more likely is just people not being able to pay more because they can't get the money they can't borrow more from the bank, because that's been the case up until now. People just borrow more from the bank and extend themselves out more and more. You know, so maybe the banks aren't going to lend as much, and we see like a bit of a stagnation in the increase in prices of houses over the next period of time. You know, next few years. Maybe that's what happens.
Well, you know, shout out to Rags to Riches, because I think Klaus was chatting to him on that Minect thing. I'll see if I can pull up his thing. So,
just regarding the house pricing quickly. What we've seen though is a lot of people from overseas, especially Asian countries, coming over with bags of cash, and they're, you know, by all reports I've heard, they're sort of outbidding anyone here, any Aussies at all, just because they've got bags of cash over us, and they're able to come here and you know, take control of these houses. So I've heard there's even been talks of, you know, bringing it into certain, you know, Australian citizen type purchasing. So if that's the case, yeah, they could easily there could be, a stop to this rise in prices. But at the moment, I think people with big bags that are coming from overseas are just able to snap anything up because we're definitely struggling at the moment as an economy. So it's a worry.
It's one of those situations where it's like, be careful what you wish for, because the rising prices of houses has also essentially funded a whole generation of boomers in the last 30 years. Like their increased house prices has allowed them to sell and, being able to retire with a nice little nest egg and downsize.
Exactly.
So just if prices don't continue to go up, then what that means for the next generation coming through wanting to retire, we're not going to have that extra little bit of retirement funds. So yeah, like I would prefer the house prices to not be a thing. I would like my kids to be able to afford a home. I would prefer that over looking forward to my house as being my retirement fund, if that makes sense.
I agree. Yeah. I mean, I might be different to a lot of people out there, but I see my house as, or a house as somewhere that you stay to live. I don't sort of think of it too deeply into the financial side of it. Once you've got to that stage of, if you do own a house or whatever, or you're paying it off, when you get all done, it's like, right, I'm safe. This is mine. I can, do what I want and I live here. But then, a lot of people, it shifts to only thinking about things financially and what gains they're going to get. So depends on your frame of mind.
We also have to question the intentions of governments, like all levels of government. So for example, state governments enjoy prices going up because they get stamp duty every time a house is or property is sold. Yeah. And then they also on commercial or property that's not your primary residence, they also get land tax. So they love it when property prices go up. They're loving it. Do you know who else loves it when property prices go up? Local government, councils. They love it because they can get more money from people. So from a tax collection angle, you've got governments who are incentivized to want there to be a system where prices of property is forever increasing.
Yeah, 100%.
Regardless of whether your kids will be able to, and they should care about that, but I just don't know if they do.
Yeah, and then we're subdividing everything, and so they're managing to increase that, whether or not the pricing is going up for their land tax. They're getting multiples on it because everything's getting subdivided too. So they're rolling it in.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. And then if you think about, all those governments and sub-governments, counts and things like that, they're all making money, but then also it's inflating so much. But yeah, I wonder if they're not going to have to turn on the money printers again soonish, because it does seem like there's a, particularly in the US, heading into the presidential election, it does seem like we're getting this weird situation of I think it's called like stagflation or whatever, where the interest rates were going up and that was meant to drive inflation down, but you're sort of seeing interest rates high and inflation's still going up. And so the cost of living is higher and everything costs more. Wages that can't keep up, and your rent and your mortgage have gone up as well. So it's kind of like not quite sure how you get around that without
try not to have debt. Try not to have debt is one way.
Oh yeah, for us it's okay. Yeah, but I just mean like in terms of the economy as a whole, maybe we're sort of heading for a recession, particularly if we're not already in one. Particularly, I mean that's just semantics. Maybe on the metric you use, like a decreasing GDP per quarter or whatever. But I think in terms of we probably are in a recession at the moment. Like a global recession, but it could certainly get worse. Like the S&P has actually been like performing really, really well over the last couple of years, really. So it could get a lot worse if that crashes. I just quickly wanted to bring up just one thing while we're sort of on this. I thought this was hilarious. This was Jared Bernstein, who's the chair of the Council of Economic Advisors, the main agency which advises Biden on their economic policy.
It's
The
unbelievable.
U.S. government can't go bankrupt because we can print our own money.
It obviously begs the question, why exactly are we borrowing in a currency that we print ourselves? I'm waiting for someone to stand up and say, why do we borrow our own currency in the first place?
Like you said, they print the dollar. So why does the government even borrow?
Well, again, some of this stuff gets, some of the language that some of the language and concepts are just confusing. I mean, the government definitely prints money, and it definitely lends that money, which is why the government definitely prints money, and then it lends that money by selling bonds. Is that what they do? They sell bonds. Yeah, they sell bonds, right? Because they sell bonds and people buy the bonds and lend them the money. Yeah. So a lot of times, at least to my ear with MMT, the language and the concepts can be kind of unnecessarily confusing, but there is no question that the government prints money and then it uses that money to yeah, I guess I can't really talk. I don't get it. I don't know what they're talking about. Like, because it's like the government clearly prints money. It does it all the time, and it clearly borrows. Otherwise, we wouldn't be having this debt and deficit conversation. So I don't think there's anything confusing there.
Apart from the fact that he just leaves out the central bank in the process completely.
That's hard to
which
watch,
is
hey?
yeah. What about the central bank buying up treasury bonds? Hey, what about that?
Yeah.
And actually being the one who creating like the vast majority of the money.
The unelected, non-governmental central bank. Yeah, the Federal Reserve. That's as Federal Express.
In the US, we should say.
Yeah. But we have central banks in Australia.
We have the RBA in Australia, but it's not the same setup in Australia.
No, it is slightly different. And I know the Commonwealth Bank, I think, used to be, and then it became the RBA, and it changed. Yeah. There's like different things, but I guess in terms of like the fact that the interest rates are set by a bank, a central bank, that really is not part of the government, and the government just has to accept it. But these guys are not elected by the people, but we all just have to follow the interest rates, and the banks have to follow the interest rates that they set. It's kind of like,
well, there was a power. There was and I forget exactly what it is. Was it the treasurer who was able to dismiss or veto? There's a rule like there's in Australia. There's a rule where like one of the politicians has dominion basically over the RBA, but they wanted to get rid of this so that the RBA was completely and this power's never been used in Australia, by the way, and that's why they want to get rid of it. But it's I'm forgetting exactly what
I know that there's whoops.
Do you know what I'm talking about? It's
I think I just turned my camera off.
You've got just as good a phrase as 43 did.
So yeah. I'm still here, mate. I'm still here. Yeah. So it's crazy that guy who's an advisor to the president of the United States of America is fumbling his words to explain what's going on with money, the production of money.
He's got one job.
Yeah. I mean, you would think that he should be able to explain that in a very concise, like explain it to me like I'm 5.
Yeah,
you know?
Exactly. When you have an expert, that's a great point. Like when you have an expert that just knows a topic, they've been doing it for 20 years, they can just be like, I can explain it to you at a complex level, but I can explain it to you really easily at a simple level.
Well, he should be able to explain it at a simple level.
Yeah, exactly. So he should be
given
able
that
to,
he's an
because
advisor, given that he's an advisor to
Yeah.
Biden, he should be able to explain it to Biden at his level, which would be a simple level, I would say.
Oh, 100%. And if he can't, then he doesn't understand it well enough. And yeah, but that was hard to watch, man. He was just fumbling around, and it's like, oh my God. But yeah, when you look into it a little bit deeply, and you kind of wonder about how the central banks kind of, they do that exchange with the bonds with the government, and then they lend to the banks, and then the banks lend it to you. But when they take your deposits, they use that as a collateral, and it's like the fractionalized reserve, so that they can borrow more. And then it's the way that it kind of works, and then the way that the interest sits on top of it. There's so much debt going around the system. There's not enough money to pay for it all off.
Yeah.
So it's pretty crazy.
There's not enough money to pay it off right now.
Yeah, but in terms of like
Yeah.
a system, how can you have a system where there's more debt than there is actual circulating dollars?
So what's the solution? Like, all right, because we sit around here talking shit on the current system. So what is the what is the solution? Is the solution that instead of having debt, what's that?
I think it's drinking beer and moving on.
That's why the alcohol economy is going so well. Yeah, exactly.
So I mean,
but you seriously
really,
want to think
what
practical things could we do?
Yeah, like so let's look at what crypto does when it comes to loans. Crypto does collateralized loans.
Sure.
And like is that like I mean, that's sort of the same thing, isn't it? Because it's printing money out of nothing without liquidating an asset.
So what if you deposit some funds into a lending protocol, and then you have like a collateralization ratio, you can borrow more than you deposited? Is that what you're saying? Or are you saying, sorry, you can only borrow less. than you deposited?
Yeah, which is the current system as well. Like the current system with banks is you borrow less than what the value of what you're purchasing, right?
So what's wrong with that? If you get too close to that liquidation, like TCR or whatever, is that what you're saying with crypto?
No, I'm just saying like we are in this space because we think that there's potentially there could be a way to do the system better, right? Rather than having like a bunch of people at the RBA making decisions, or a bunch of people at I see what
you're saying. Yeah.
Rather than having those few people with a lot of power, can it be automated? Can it be on the blockchain? Can it be done in a way that gives the power back to the people to do it without these middlemen in between? Who, by the way, the interest rate that for example, in Australia, the interest rate that the RBA sets is not the interest rate that you borrow at. You borrow. There's a margin that banks make on that. So someone's making money off your loan. Whereas I guess the benefit of doing something that's collateralized on the blockchain is that if you do have, those assets, and you use these, the liquidity protocol or liquid loans or what are the other ones, Flex or whatever you're using, there's actually no interest rate. There is no interest rate.
Yes.
But you can get
fee, right?
But you can get liquidated like
pretty
easily.
If your collateralization ratio gets too low, then you can be liquidated, and you can be redeemed against as well, because those systems all have like a stable coin like HexDC or PXDC or
So the question is, what is the better system? And the answer, my answer is, I don't know what the better system is. But can we just allow the systems to exist and let the market decide? Because the market will choose the most efficient system. That's what markets tend to do. They without like interference from governments, they tend to mess up everything they put their grubby little fingers on. So like if we just let the market decide what is the best way to go, and the market will work it out. The market will go to the most efficient way of doing it. It's just how markets work.
Yeah, it's interesting. Look, I mean, I've only really spent a lot of effort trying to understand the system to the point where I can criticize it. I'm not sure if I'm at the point where I can propose a new financial system. I think that's going to take a few more.
Do you at least agree with the idea of, well, just whatever anyone comes up with, let's
I'm a big fan of
let's see what works, right? Rather than, like, you know, for example, in Australia, they've the ATO have said that, like, if you like, the ATO have issued it's not law, but it's their guidance. They've said something along the lines of, you know, if it's a loan, when you make that loan, that's like income, right?
Yes.
So if they have rules like that, then the ATO is actually stifling the competitive nature of the market, right? Because what you want is, you want the market to be competitive, so that banks have to pull their socks up, the central bank has to pull their socks up, and then they have to compete with people in crypto who can just get money out of the system by doing. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I do. I like that idea that you can tokenize an asset, or you can have assets that you can take a loan against, and that those loans are tax free. I like that idea, because it seems like that's how they do it in legacy finance, where, you know, Elon Musk might not want to sell X amount of Tesla stock, but he can take a loan against them and things like that. So, or however, you know, you can take a loan against assets. You don't have to sell them. And then as long as you can refurbish that loan, then you don't have to pay effectively the capital gains tax on that sale. So yeah, I like that idea. And I think that would be great if we could do that in crypto. And it's a shame that the ATO have kind of have that stance.
Well, they're stifling it.
Yes,
yeah,
I agree. I
competition.
think
You want competition, so that, you know, like, well, what if this new crypto way of loaning is better, and people move towards that, with, you know, whichever way they can, and then the old system just dies and goes away? Well, that's a good thing, isn't it? Because people have moved towards something that's better and more efficient, rather than sticking with something that's old, ineffective.
Yeah, I think a free market is definitely the best. A free market where you have, like, that's that sort of thing where I say I like capitalism, because I kind of like the idea that it's proportional to how much how much work you put into the system, and you earn, and then you sell, and then people see value, and then it's priced in a free market, and then that's how people can end up getting rich, because they're putting in the work and they're doing things like that, rather than just the way that if it's, you're stifling innovation and you're stifling the crypto laws, then you're kind of hindering any progress, really.
And the irony is that they're not even laws. It's just guidance. The laws haven't even been made in relation to this. They're just, the ATO is like taking a few steps ahead and saying, hey, we're just going to put this guidance out there. It's not the law, but if you don't do what we write in this guidance, we might just take you to court if you do something, that's goes against it. Look, guys, I actually just realized the time. I have to head off.
You have to disappear.
Really nice
That's
chatting
cool.
to you.
Good to chat
I
to you,
will
man.
see you guys next week, and goodbye to everyone in the chat.
Yes. All right. Thanks, 43. Pleasure to have you on, as always.
Take it easy, man.
Thanks for your time, man.
Cheers, guys.
Yep. See ya.
Cheers, bro. Yeah, wow. That was intense.
What were you saying about that Minect stuff with Rags?
Yeah, so I was just sort of saying that there was a couple of things that basically so I think Funding Jim and Rags to Riches, or Brandon Davis, but it's at Rags to Riches fam, and Funding Jim will be here somewhere, but it's Gary Woods. I think everyone knows Funding Jim, but here he is. It's just at Funding Jim. These guys went to that Donald Trump presidential dinner thing, and both of them are on Minect. And I noticed, so Cointelegraph, I think, had a a thing in the news where they were talking about this. Donald Trump will be meeting crypto enthusiasts for an NFT dinner. And then, yeah, so this is Cointelegraph. And then it says down here, there are some hexagons that are going to be there, claimed ex-user Brandon Davis, referring to supporters of Richard Hart's Hex blockchain.
Oh,
okay. It's not really a Hex blockchain. Hex is the token that is on PulseChain and on Ethereum. But so yeah, people think that Hex is a blockchain for some reason. I don't know. It's just a token. People like for any of you Cointelegraph reporters out there. But yeah, I assume they're talking about PulseChain there.
PulseChain. Yeah. It's one of those things I think I've heard a few people talking about, that we do need to sort of shift the focus maybe from the Hex only thing to PulseChain, because people
I like
don't quite
that idea.
understand, and they look at the eHex chart. Not that the pHex chart is much better, but only thinking about Hex versus looking at the whole world. That's been moved over to PulseChain and everything that's building. But yeah, it's good to see these guys doing this stuff with that with Patrick Bet-David and that Minect app.
So the cool thing is with this is you can just ask them questions. Like Claire's asked Brandon a question and Funding Jim, and I think even Brother KG. It's like you can just literally just ask these people detailed questions about what they think is going on with the economy, or where things are heading, this and that, and then they just give you a detailed voice message response. And they're obviously, these are smart guys. They have a lot of world knowledge and stuff, so their opinion is quite valuable. So to sort of have $10 or whatever to ask them a question, I think it's good. And you support them, and then it puts them up that leaderboard. I presume this is Funding Jim. Yeah, Gary. Yeah. So, he's a real estate mogul, all this sort of stuff. So there's lots of things you can ask about these guys. And I mean, they're getting just the fact that they were getting quoted in that Cointelegraph thing. I thought that was cool.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. And who knows how much, this will do for, I guess, the PulseChain ecosystem or whatever, but it's good to get the name out there. And these guys are good at rubbing shoulders with sort of bigger people. So I think that's what's important. But I just sent you
it's good to support them if we can. Yeah,
and exactly.
I'll have a look.
I just sent you the link to the leaderboard in the chat. So
I'll see if I can bring that across. Let's see.
Because Rags has just moved into second place. He was in third about an hour ago, but in that lightweights on the left.
Come on, fam. We've got to get this. We've got to get these guys up there. We've got to support them.
It's very
Brandon
cool.
Davis. We can't be taking second place. Second is the first loser. Let's go. Let's put a cougar in that car and just get Brandon to the finish line, because that's a Talladega Nights joke. But it would be great to see Brandon and Gary 1 and 2 on the podium. So I might have to. I'll do that after the stream as well. So it'd be great to support these guys.
So is it? It's $10 to ask them a question.
Yes, $10. $10 a question. Yeah,
that's cool.
That's all right. Good. It's like a cost of a pint or whatever down the pub.
That's it. And they might might be able to pay for them to buy Patrick Bet-David a drink wherever they go. I'm sure the drinks won't be cheap. Yeah. So
but these guys are putting in the work, and they're stuff out. It's nice to support people if you can. If you can't and you need that $10, then don't do it. That's fine as well. I was just going to say in reference to thinking of the PulseChain community as PulseCons, someone had suggested, what sort of name would be better than PulseCons. And I was like, I can't like PulseCons, but whatever. And then the one I thought of was PulseChainers, because, you got Bitcoiners. I've always liked that sort of someone that's not just like a Bitcoin maximalist, but they just happen to like Bitcoin and they have a couple of Bitcoin. They're a Bitcoiner. So I thought, and it's hard to just go like Pulsar. So maybe PulseChainer. I mean, I'm
PulseChain.
pronouncing that in a way that's sort of saying it sounds a bit weird when PulseChainer, but like
Yeah.
PulseChainer.
Yeah.
It's probably almost like the Australian. We tend to actually put in like an A instead of an at the end, so it'd be like PulseChainer.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
you're a PulseChainer, like a Bitcoiner. PulseChainer.
Yeah.
But maybe that's just because we can't be bothered like pronouncing that whole thing. Like we just say Arvo instead of afternoon.
Yeah, we're pretty lazy.
Yeah, we get a bit lazy. I think it's the heat.
Yeah.
But if you've got any ideas.
Yeah, someone in the chat will know. What was on that BitBoy came up with? He was doing a stream with Hexy Bastard. I can't remember now, but it was funny.
Yeah. I mean, there's a few jokes in there, like pulse sardines, all this sort of thing. I thought we would have had this wrapped up by now. But, I thought we were going with PulseX. I don't know what he's.
Yeah, guys. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. I don't know. Hexagon sounds better.
Yeah, but you can't because I know we're all hexagons. We own hex, you know. We might be Bitcoiners as well. They're not mutually exclusive, is what I'm saying.
That's right.
You can be a Bitcoiner. You can be what is it? An Ethereum. How would it be? An Ethereum like Maxi or whatever.
ETH bro.
An ETH bro. There you go. So you can be an ETH bro. You can be a PulseX. You can be a hexagon. They're not mutually exclusive. But I think it would be unfair to call everyone who participates in the PulseChain community a hexagon because then some 100%. Of them are just like balls deep in some meme coin that's got nothing to do with hex. So, but we're all PulseXons, you know. So anyway, I was just wondering about that. So if you've got any ideas, put it in the chat for like, you know, clever play on words or terms that you could use to describe the PulseX community.
Yeah.
But yeah, there was two things that you just made me think of. One of them was you mentioned Hexy Bastard.
Yeah.
And so have you seen the lowest of stakes?
Yeah, as I mentioned, I got halfway through it and haven't seen the other half yet. But
you fell asleep. Yeah.
May or may not have.
And you weren't even pregnant. So that's remember, was it Ash's wife who was pregnant and she fell asleep in the
that's right, highest of stakes. Yeah,
she got the free pass. But if you fell asleep in the lowest of stakes and you're a bloke, then you can't blame the pregnancy. So
I don't know. My take on that is if you know Hexy Bastard and you've been following closely for the past year or two or whatever, you'd understand it. You'd get the jokes, the inside jokes, and you'd get that sort of humor and find it interesting. But the highest of stakes is much better for the production value,
production quality.
It keeps you much more interested the whole time, even though they've done really well with it. And I know it's not trying to take the wind out of the sails of highest of stakes. It's like a parody.
It's a mockumentary or something.
So it's funny and it's got its value. But if you're really into crypto and your wife just lets you be into crypto and isn't too into crypto herself, probably don't bother watching it with her because they'll find it boring as hell. But
look, I felt like it needed a good edit is what my comment would be. There were some bits in it and I was just like, this part's dragging on. This guy is talking for too long. Like, I mean, it's easy to say from the armchair, I'm no expert anyway. And probably people would say the same thing about our streams. They'd be like, edit that shit out. This guy's talking, his Dozza's just ranting about the government again, just cut that shit out. Like, and that's fair. Like, you don't have to, sit through the whole thing. But I thought there was, and it does look, I think, okay, so here's my take. I like Hexy Bastard. I think he's funny, right? I think he's a lad. And I remember him streaming from his bedroom, all those many years ago. And it was like he embraced that whole poor pleb thing. And I think it's great that he had a meme coin, but I have to kind of say, I'm sure we get along with him well, have a beer and all this sort of stuff.
Definitely.
But that I have to kind of think, if you're raising that much money for a meme coin, where does the money go? It's like where does the ETH go? But and it's great to see him be able to flex and all this sort of stuff. But those ERC20 contracts are, you know, open Zeppelin contracts. You can just fork them. They're free. And then so what utility does it have? Like, how do you, I mean, you have to get a dev to do certain things. You got to pay them. And, you know, the 9-inch thing, that's obviously a different aspect because it's a full DEX and it's got, you know, liquidity pools and farming and staking and single asset staking, all sorts of things, you know. But the Poor Player meme coin, because I think that's actually what the documentary was more about, was him just launching that meme coin. It is a lot of money to get for effectively like just a meme coin. But yeah, maybe in the future that people will do well for that. But yeah, if they're not getting their value out of the sack, I guess you can make that argument against nearly all of the sacks that we've had, though.
That's it.
You know, that they've been negative. So maybe maybe it's just like we've learned our lesson. For me, it's just like maybe there's no more sacks, you know. So
exactly.
Anyway, that's just like, I have to be real and kind of go, I like him. He seems like a nice guy, but that part of it, when I was watching it, I'm kind of going, even they are kind of saying, how come there's so much money coming for this meme coin? And they're just like, I don't know, like it's crazy. But that's also like bull market as well. Like maybe people would just.
There was a lot of hype around sacrifice phases then too. Everyone thought that was getting in early, and we've now learned, you know, and we see the what the market's decided, which is when you receive your sacrifice, dump it. Seems to be what the go is
in a bear market. Yeah, but see, that's the thing is, I remember in the bull markets, we used to just watch streams after streams. We'd watch one channel, and then that stream would finish, and then everyone would raid the next stream, and we would just throw in super chats every stream, just super chatting everyone, just like bam, bam, bam. Like some of them like decent money, like just super chatting, because it was just crazy, man. Like the amount of money that was going around back then. And so I really look forward to that again, man. When people start like just, it's a real fun place to be. Like streaming for whatever it is, the last 37 weeks that we've done in a bear market. Like it's fun because I get to chat to you guys. But it's not the same sort of, you know, energy. But I think it's good that we can kind of support the community in some regard. I think that reminds me that is it PulseTube?
Yep.
I never actually go there, which is weird because I always just subscribe to people on YouTube and I just check my notifications. What's the actual website?
Is it pulse.tube?
Maybe I'll just type it into Twitter. PulseTube. Oh man, why are they gatekeeping me?
Yeah, I know. I'm looking as well.
What are you doing? I probably should have got. Oh, here we go. Oh no, that's there.
Someone in the chat give it to us. I was thinking, you know,
it's literally PulseTube. But
streams in the bull market might be even more entertaining. You might be able to stream from your brand new jet ski when we're at the top of the bull, mate.
When we get that jet ski money,
when we get finally get the 2x,
that's when you know to sell. When you see me streaming from a jet ski, that's like a top signal. I'm just sitting there. Can't talk right now, guys. Just whatever you do, don't cheat the chart, and that's a sign that you should cheat. Okay, I found it. It's thepulsetube.com. So now if you go to the live, it's got us on there. Thank you very much, sir. Appreciate that.
Very nice.
Look out. But you can see who's up next. Crypto Coffee. In 20 hours. Yeah. And we've got the conference. So that's definitely going to be the next big thing is shout out to Matty Allen, who's running the PulseChain conference. So the 1 year anniversary.
Yep.
You can go straight to Matty Allen's channel and like and subscribe, all that stuff. please like and subscribe for us as well. We always appreciate that. And yeah, you can just go to his Matty Allen site, or you can go to this thepulsetube.com and just follow it there. So
that's it. Hey, so tell us, I was listening to a Matty Allen stream the past couple, actually. He's name dropped you, par excellence.
Oh,
so you've got another seat on another category, don't you?
So yeah, what happened there was I should have commented on that. Yeah, but shout out to Matty Allen. He did say he gave us some props, so that was really nice, and to say that he enjoyed our streams, but because he had me down as Ingve Wild for the 3-minute testimonials or whatever on day 1, and then on day 4, I think I was meant to be doing a talk with Brizology. But unfortunately I work during the week, right? I work, so I'm at work, so I can't stream on those days. So I said I can do Sunday morning, which I think is going to be 7 a.m. my time. Lovely. Which is going to be interesting. So because I've been staying up trying to get locked in for this 9mm drop, and then now I'm going to be doing the opposite and getting up at 6 a.m.
No, it sounded like a good group of people though. I can't remember now who was saying we're with, but
I think I'm going to be with Crypto Coffee. Oh no, sorry. Who was it? It was Crypto 7. It was Crypto 7.
Yeah.
Crypto 7 and Korean Stylist, I think it is.
Oh, Crypto Stylist. Yeah.
Crypto Stylist, I think, something like that.
Yeah.
And there was someone else.
She's
I
cool.
can't really remember. But yeah, she's awesome. And obviously Crypto 7 is really cool.
For sure.
So yeah, I always like watching 7 streams, and he's been putting in the hard yards. So shout out to him.
Yeah.
I was going to say, is there anyone that wants to give us a token, and we can have a look at the charts just quickly before we wrap it up? Put the token ticker in the chat, and then we can have a quick look and just sort of see if it's how it's traveling. Retrostatic is in the house. Retrostatic, have another drink. Does that? And
check out.
Thanks very much. Good night to you. Thanks for joining us.
Canitos, Yvonne said.
Oh, okay.
Base radiance is shocking.
How have I missed all of this chat?
Oh, that was when 43 left. Yeah. We've been chatting.
Yeah. Sorry for not reading the chat, but yeah, Jay Everything, what's up? Check out his music. It's really cool. But yeah, there's a lot of okay. So yeah, Nick was talking about that Article 12. Okay. Thank you, Nick. I appreciate your input. You're all degens because we bought crypto, even BTC. I don't know, man. I'm feeling like BTC is getting more normalized. Like people are kind of like, oh, you're into crypto? Oh, yeah. I like Bitcoin as well. And you're like, Bitcoin? I didn't say Bitcoin.
Yeah, people see Bitcoin, call it Bitcoin. It's like the whole category of crypto still. So that just shows we're not there yet. So,
but it does sort of show that it's being normalized a little bit. So what was base radiance? Oh, PulseChains. Dick with butt. So I'm not sure if that's he wants me to check out the chart. I'm happy to do that.
That was him talking about what, Pulsicans or whatever, what we should be called.
Yeah. I hope no one got a Pulsican tat. That's funny. And we just changed it to PulseChainers or Pulsesidans. Pulsicanitos. Pulsators, you can go that way, but Clintrons, what's up? Yeah, I guess it doesn't really matter. Oh, here we go. Someone suggested we have a look at the Gifford token. All right, I'm going to do the show me what you got. Show me some tickers if you like, and we're just going to quickly rapid fire look at the charts. I think this is the last time I'm going to do this video because it's starting to not be funny anymore. Where is it?
Do it.
Or maybe I've deleted it already. Oh no, here it is.
Show me what you got.
That's not that. Show me what you got. There you go.
Nice.
Show me your tickers. Let's have a look. Let's pull it up. So yeah, I kind of like this idea because I wanted people to engage in the streams, but I also like the idea that if people want to comment after the stream, like shout out Replay Gang, then they can put in tickers and we can look at it, and it's engagement, right, as well. So it's not just about like shilling random tokens. It's about just trying to engage people.
Yeah, we like the chat being involved and engaged like that. It's so good. It keeps us going and gives us more to talk about, even if it's Eric Wall TV having a dig. It's all good. We love it.
And it's like, if you don't like meme coins, then just switch off. Like, that's okay. But I'm not always going to be talking about meme coins. Last week, I think I was plotting Ethereum. And in fact, I might even do that again just because I'm interested to see how it's looking. But just quickly, look at this pulse chart. I didn't realize, but this is on the daily. Look at this. Higher low. Can you dig it?
Yeah, let's keep going.
So I know that is not much to see, but they are low. They are. That is the biggest group. That is the higher low there. But there is a little W there, and it is slightly higher. And that's closed, right? And
the W rather
it's got the W. But I'm just wondering, like, it's, it is hopefully forming a bottom here, and that could be a capitulation wick, and if we can bust above this next fib line, the 61.8, and then retest it, that would be cool. So anyway, I got slightly distracted there.
Doesn't it?
Opportunity, that's right. Opportunity versus price.
Yeah,
and
that's it.
They're inversely proportional. And so I also wanted to just check out the hex pulse ratio if I price it in pulse, right? Because remember, we saw that thing where we were saying that there's this massive downtrend, and then it was accumulating around this 100 pulse per hex, and then it sort of just broke out and just went crazy. And then I was saying, the next stop is 140 pulse per hex, because I was saying that was like a resistance on the daily.
Exactly.
Yeah, and then look at this shit. Perfect. Retest.
Yeah, so nice.
I mean,
well done. Very good.
I plotted that shit a long time ago, and I was sort of going, look at it rolling over. I like commenting and shit like here, like this, like last year, going, oh, look, the ratio is rolling over. I don't know what's going on. And then it just went into that downtrend, and I'm like, it's going down, and it doesn't seem to be getting out of it. And then there was this little accumulation thing, busted out of it. I thought, oh, I wonder if it is going to retest that as support. And it did. 156 pulse per hex now. So, don't fade hex on PulseChain, peeps. That's the lesson there. 100%. And recognize when things change, because you can only be right or wrong with respect to a given time frame. So, things change. And I would say at the moment, hex on PulseChain is actually outperforming Pulse. I still love Pulse, but let's just give credit where credit's due. So now the ticker, someone else was suggesting, what was it? Lift.
Yeah, lift. Connie said lift. Yeah.
Okay. So I'll just do a quick, liquidity here, 4.5 grand. What? That's like the entire buy side liquidity is like how much I spend on lunch. So maybe that's an exaggeration, but come on, peeps, 2 grand on the buy side. Yeah, you should be able to pump this chart. That's not a lot of money.
You and Clive must go to a bloody good sushi restaurant if you're paying that much.
Tell you what, once you buy those scotches, man, it adds up. Who bought all these scotches? Oh, that's right, it was me. Nah, look, okay. Look, it did really well. Now, not so much. That's on the 1 hour. How's the TA on this?
I love it. I love your TA. It's so good.
It's look, there's not a lot you can say. It's only been around for how many days are we talking here? Oh man. It's been around for like a week. Had a big pump. Someone made some money. I mean, I kind of like these filters that you can do. So if you look at let's just look at the cells and then filter in terms of like greater than, oh my God, I'm going to have to like choose a really low number. What? Cells greater than 1,000. Oh, see, it's that low. And then you can look by the whales and things like that. There's not a lot of money in this. It's sort of anyone could affect this chart, I guess is my analysis on this. You've got to be careful with such low liquidity. So you could literally pump this like in real time. But you'd have to sort of see if you recognize some of these makers as like selling a lot, and then you think, well, hang on, when did they accumulate? You can see when they bought and when they're selling. But yeah, it's got a classic kind of pump and dump look. There's not a lot of TA that you can really do in terms of like moving averages and things like that. Maybe it's got a rounded bottom. Maybe there's support here. Support / resistance. So it's right hugging that right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. The upside is not great. The upside is not great because you can only get $2,000 out of this like as a maximum. So all right, let's move on. Oh, it's Paralyzed Hexicon's coin apparently. Brizology, what's up, Brizology?
He popped up as soon as you did the hex chart TA.
Oh, did he? Oh, there you go.
I was just thinking about him because I was thinking if you were doing originally going to do the Pulse conference with Brizology and now you can't, I was thinking, why doesn't Tangent take your spot?
Oh, come on now.
It'd be good.
We don't need the drama, man. I'm an anti-drama. Yeah,
it's all about engagement.
No,
I'm joking. I'm joking. I love both of them. It was a good show.
That's it. See, that's the thing is, I like Brizology. I think he's a legend. I am friends with Tangent in real life. He's like a good bloke. He's a champion. He's an absolute legend. So, but
agreed.
The persona you have on Twitter and on streams can sometimes get a bit, and people clash and whatever. But and obviously there's investment thesis. I've noticed that even with like Somi and stuff. He was going balls deep with the EHEX, and then once that started doing poorly, he started talking smack about it. It's like you got to be a little bit careful when you're emotionally attached to some of these things. But you could say the same thing about me, like because I was more into PHEX, right? And then here I am talking about this this hex pulse ratio, and I'm sort of saying, let's go, it's going. That's because I'm bag biased because I've got hex on PulseChain, right? It's you've got to realize there's inherent biases there. But no, I'm actually spewing that I don't get to do a stream with Briz because I like him, but I'm working during the week there, so that's why I'm doing the schedule change.
Yeah.
So thanks for bringing that up.
I was just having a joke. It's all good. I wasn't trying to hurt anyone's feeling. I just got plenty of engagement. It was bloody bit of good fun, to be honest. So,
that's it. Look, some people like that, when Unwrecked used to come on and stuff, and there was like ladies in the background and stuff, and it was like, so sometimes you just want a bit of drama, something to chat about. So did anyone say anything? Oh, it was Gifford, I think someone mentioned. Was that the other one?
Yep, John mentioned Gifford.
So let's have a look at this. Now, there's GIF and there's PGIF. So 43K, so it's volume, liquidity 183K. Oh, so I'd go by PGIF has got 600.
So
let's just look at them both real quick, right? So this is on V3, it's asymmetric liquidity, 183K. Let's see. I think we looked at this last time, and it's disproportionate in terms of the buy. I think actually that was PGIF. So GIF, in terms of it being, 78K of GIF and 105, it's got more pulse. So that's good. I mean, it's just been going crazy, parabolic. So there's nothing really to look at in terms of TA there. Even in log, it's just going up and to the right. It's at new all-time highs, and it's in price discovery, and it's kicking ass. So now that's really good. I suspect people are buying that up for some reason. Like there must be, I don't know enough about it, but is it because of that PGIF? You buy GIF and you turn it into PGIF or something like that? I don't know.
Yeah, you burn, like you mint PGIF with GIF, and they've got all that stuff coming out at the moment with the iBurn contract.
Shit.
So GIF or PGIF was supposed to be an experimental token working towards this Pulsar system. But yeah, it was just like just launched, on the fly type thing, and they were just gonna see how it goes. And everyone's been going hard on it. So
okay, so this was my thing, is like, if you create a token and then you pair it with Pulse, then you give it value, and then you create another token and you pair it with that token. So it looks like there's 625K of liquidity, but it's between PGIF and GIF, right? Both these tokens were like printed into existence, but really you could say that about pretty much anything, but with the Pulse side of PGIF, there's 101K of total liquidity, but there's only 14K of buy side liquidity.
Yeah.
See how that works? So
that helps
there's
push
14K of liquidity. There's a lot of PGIF, and then you pull the PGIF with the GIF. I think people know what I'm saying. But yeah, look, I know the guys, RG3, Kinetics, Crypto Kool-Aid, those guys have been doing stuff behind the scenes, and obviously Gifford. So yeah, I hope it all works out and it does well. It certainly looks like it's doing well.
It's all on speculation at the moment, isn't it?
Particularly for the people that bought in here. Yeah. It's not really something that I'm looking at buying now, because it is at all-time highs, in price discovery, all that sort of stuff. But yeah, hard to do TA on something because there's no structure. It's just like flat and then just up. Solid X. So that was you that put that in the chat. I appreciate that.
Speaking of bag bias,
playing the game. Oh, there you go. A bit of bag bias. Let's have a look. So this is, why is it not? Oh, because I didn't put X.
So before you do start doing TA on this one, a lot to do with, most of these, they pump for a reason, which isn't always just because of normal market structure.
Yes.
It's because of things behind it or a whale coming in and pumping it. So in the TA for like price prediction, that makes it pretty difficult. I understand, there's resistances and
other factors at play.
But really, you could do as much TA as you want, which is why I put it in for a bit of fun. But
look, it's worth looking at.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I had a fib retracement tool on this one, and I went to the tip, and it looks like it has actually been respecting this fib line here, and it looked like it kind of bounced off that. So maybe like a fake out, and then that's right, it had some sort of diagonal support. Doesn't ever really seem to hold very well, I've noticed.
Okay.
Not as strong as horizontal support, but maybe this fib line could have been a bit of a bottom forming. So yeah, that's interesting. And let's see if we price it in Pulse. It's basically been going sideways, but it's making higher highs. Ooh, maybe not there. It's basically going sideways against Pulse, but it's going maybe up. It's coming out of a sideways more into an uptrend. So it could be a good opportunity. the same thing goes though. Like, you know how there was this Hex Scout, and they had, was it in the portfolios? They had this Fire Whale, his portfolio.
Yes, yep.
I just use this to get his wallet address. But
yeah, that's cool. Yeah.
if you copy the address from there, and then, oh, that was meant to be, so I'm getting distracted by something. S&P 500. If you go back to the SolidX chart and then you filter by maker, and then you put in that, you know, Fire Whale thing, you can see what's up. So this is the Fire Whale buying up the chart. Here, 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 and apparently here.
Yeah.
So that gives you a slightly better idea of what's going on.
Exactly.
But not a lot of sells, right? What's this R? Removed liquidity. Oh, okay. Well, that might be a bit of the old dip catcher technique, the ceiling pool or whatever it is, where they thin out the liquidity and then buy it up so that you pump the price, and then you add liquidity so that people sell into higher liquidity. It could have been what was going on.
Yeah, I think they'll be doing some interesting things with the solid index coming out. There, you know, a lot of different liquidity plays and stuff like that between the Hexfire and Axis and stuff like that. So we'll see.
This does give you a bit of an insight, right? Like,
it does,
because you can kind of see bought the bejesus out of it. Because if you had a zoomed like right into here, let me just like zoom in. So then once the scale, you realize what's going on here. So you go, oh, it's pumping, you know, it's pumping, it's going up. So they were the initial sort of buyers. And then there must have been some other wallets that are buying this up, obviously, like it has a lot of momentum. And then someone's done a massive sell. One of the bigger whales has got out and he's tried to support the price. That must have been a pretty big buy. And then it sort of failed. And then it went, so then it's just gone down. And then it's gone sideways for a while. And then it looks like he's trying to revive it here and pump it up. I don't know, man. This is all speculation, but it is kind of forming a bit of a, I would say, an uptrend. And yeah, who knows? For fun, try Flex. Oh, Yaveen. That's not going to be pretty, I don't think.
Yaveen loves these protocols.
Yeah, Yaveen was getting me to plot loan and whatever else it was. I mean, fucks. I mean, the charts just look terrible. Even if you put it on log, it's still down forever.
They got to go up one day, surely.
Whew. I am slightly concerned about why these go down so much. Like, what kind of allocation did people have that they can just perpetually sell it down? The chart just doesn't look natural. You know what I mean? Like, it's just being sold off. So yeah, but anyway, that's just me being skeptical. Let's put it in terms of Flex versus Hex. Oh, it's still terrible. No. Yaveen, come on. Give us something. Give us
but keep watching. We love you, Ben. Yeah.
But you know, we do. We love your work, and thank you for joining us. But she is. I'm assuming it's a guy. Is having a laugh there. So I get that. Are there any other? So check out Teve Scuba Steve. Oh man, I did ask for people to put in stuff. So is this even a thing? So is it Scuba?
Scuba. Yeah, it's TEVE.
Yeah. Okay. 138K liquidity. I think I'll just have to go faster because.
Just give us the basic description. Looks like it's going a bit sideways, a little bit up.
69K liquidity on the buy side, sideways up. Someone jeeted the top, most likely a founder, and then now it's going up. So yeah, looks okay. Doesn't look terrible. I've seen worse. I mean, this has only been around for a few weeks. It doesn't look that bad. Let's put it in terms of pulse. It's making higher highs at least, right? Look, I've seen a lot worse. But and it's got decent liquidity. Yeah. Look, I
That's
don't
another
think
one
it's that
that
bad.
is probably. I know that's someone in the no permissions community. Like with Randy Hilarski, their Telegram goes off with people launching and looking at doing new coins. I think this is one of them. And so it's going to be supported and integrated with, within the Nope community, including like liquidity and stuff like that. So it's got a pretty big following, that community now, on a Patreon.
That just reminds me as well, just really quickly, that PulseCoin.io guys, they launched their protocol, and you can create your own tokens using their factory, token factory or whatever. And then there's things that they have with liquidity providing, liquidity meshing. I haven't really looked into it. I'm really bad with these things, but check out their white paper. Look at it. You can just launch it and then check out. Oh, so they do airdrops. Oh, that's right. So if you stake the Pulse PLSC, then you get some allocations of the coins that get launched on the platform, I think.
Yeah.
And then maybe these are the ones that people are airdropping. But I guess it's kind of like Go Pulse. You know how you can create your own token.
Yeah. You can do that on 9-inch too now, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think, so Go Pulse does it. There's that launch guys, they're doing their launch pad thing. I don't think they've launched yet though. They had
they've launched the coin
to launch. That's right, yeah. So actually, how's that going? Is that still down and terrible, or
soon find out? I haven't watched that one in a while.
I think that you can only get allocations if you have this. Yeah, so 10 cents was basically the sack price. So it's still down. Anyway, I like Donovan. I hope he does well in the future. So let's see. And the Pulse coin guys, they seem good. That's the Hans P guy, right? Like the I should just look at their chart while I'm here. Because Hans P did a whole bunch of stuff for the community, and then so he's launched it. Oh yeah. Not too shabby. Scratch my balls in you. Okay. Classes having a laugh. Me and you aren't doing the conference. Yeah, sorry, Brisbane. I can't do during the week. But we were going to. Oh, of course. Yeah, I would stream. The others asked not to be on stream. What?
Come on. Crazy. We all love you, Briz.
See, this is funny. It's like there's this whole thing with the Tangang. I love the Tangang, but they're like refusing to do the conference or whatever. It's like, oh, come on, guys. Like, it's just, I don't know. I don't know the beef. I don't know the background, but I just sort of think, like, who cares? Just get on board and let's all just get along. Can't we all just get along?
That's it. There was something to do with the fact that they didn't just immediately have a spot, I think, where everyone knew that you just had to sort of fill in that speaker form. And you can get involved. So it's all good. It's all good.
Yeah, I don't know if that's a great reason to just boycott the whole thing. I mean, but the Tangang do their own stuff. Like, credit to them. They had a big space last night with hundreds of people in it for the 9mm drop.
Yeah.
And let's look at that 9mm thing. Oh, it's actually right here. And so, look, I think those guys are funny. I think, okay, so this got cheated pretty hard, and then now it's just sitting pretty. Not much to see, but that was the one that launched last night. Is there anything? This show is better when I'm not on it.
Come on.
That's a bit rough. There's just less tax talk. That's all it is. No. I love.
We're all here because of 43. I'm pretty sure. So.
Exactly. Yeah. We just are a bit more degen. We just start looking up coins like BBC for some reason.
Yeah, as soon as 43 left, I felt okay about writing SolidX in the chat. So
that's right. Once the adults leave, it's like the kids can play. Yeah. And let's have a look. Oh, so hang on a tick. I just made a rookie mistake. I was plotting BBC versus. Oh no, this is USD. I was going to plot it versus 9-inch. So this was that someone asked me about this a while ago, and I said that was resistance. And I said, if you were going to trade it, make sure it retests, and then it didn't. So like, there you go. And then look, it's got rejected off that resistance again. So damn, that was an accurate call. Yeah, if you were going to buy this, if I was going to buy this, I would wait until it went above and then retested this line and gave like a decent long time frame bounce, like not just talking like a 1 hour bounce, but like on a daily, and it was an obvious bounce. I think that Hex versus Pulse, that was a classic example of retesting.
Yeah.
And I think, so the S&P 500 did this real big scare, and it went down to the 20-week moving average, and then it looked like it just bounced off that. It just refused to close below it, and then just so that was a few weeks ago where everything just kind of got hammered.
Yeah,
but that's looking good. In which case, I think Bitcoin as well has had quite a good recovery from its latest dump. So we're sort of sitting pretty around 63, 64K. I thought it might go lower, but it really just respected that 20-week moving average.
So if we see the S&P keep moving up a little bit, you reckon we'll get back to where we were?
Yeah, I think we're okay. Look, in terms of the S&P 500, look, on the weekly, the 10-week is above the 20-week, which is above the 50, above the 100. They're just stacked, and the price is above all of it. Like, you couldn't ask for a better looking chart.
Yeah.
So Bitcoin, it hasn't broken below the 20-week moving average. So we're still on. Everything's still going according to plan. It might go sideways for a while, but it's certainly not over. Ethereum versus BTC, let's look at that. It's just downtrend since the merge. Like, it's just been, Bitcoin's been outperforming Ethereum. It is what it is. It's a real shame because we're balls deep in like PulseChain, which is almost a leverage play on Ethereum. We really want this Ethereum ratio to Ethereum BTC ratio to break this downtrend and to have a trend reversal and even retest on the top of this, and then but it looks like we've got a long way to go, unfortunately.
Is it worth looking at Wrapped Pulse versus Wrapped Ethereum at all, just to see what that looks like?
Certainly can. I don't think it's going to look terribly pretty. So PLS versus Wrapped ETH. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I saw last week sometime. It was real
well, actually, Ethereum has
really cheap in the versus Wrapped ETH.
Okay, so this is maybe this is a different. This might be the forked copy of Wrapped ETH.
Yeah, it looks like it.
Yeah, because I think P Wrapped ETH is literally one pulse, so that's just like 1-to-1. Okay, that's not what I'm looking for. So PLS on PulseChain versus ETH. Why is it not showing up?
I think I've ridden WETH first before WETH and then WPLS.
I see what you're saying, but
just look for the right price down a bit more.
Yeah, I mean, that last one I thought it had 500K worth of liquidity. That's really interesting. I should actually look into that.
There it is. Just up one. That's one of them.
19 million. That looks like it there.
Yeah.
Yeah, gotcha. Okay, so I had it the wrong way around. Sorry. So if we price it in Pulse, so okay, yeah. So this is the thing, and then if you invert it with if you invert the pair with the 3 dots, holy shit. So this is Pulse versus Wrapped ETH. This is just a downtrend. Like, I don't even need to get that linear regression thing out to tell you that's a downtrend. Right. That's not great. Damn, we should have just been Bitcoiners this whole time.
That's right. But if that keeps going down, in the way you've got it, that might be a good, if we see a big amount of ETH at a good price get flipped in there, we might see a big old green candle somewhere there.
Well, let's just do a bit of TA rather than me just being, thrown in the towel. I mean, I was just joking, but let's just see. So this is on the daily. This is the pulse versus wrap to ETH ratio. So why is this scale so shit? Okay, there we go, log. So this is the, I would say, like the candle body close. Yeah, so look at that. There, it sort of broke just below it, like it wicked below it, it closed below it, faked out, and then wick touched it again. So this is definitely a line of support right here.
Yeah.
And then let's see what's happened here. Oh, holy shit, we broke below it, and now we're about to test it. So now it's resistance.
Oh gosh.
Interesting.
I
Hopefully we break through that.
I think there's something to
I
keep an eye on there.
Might that add to my watch list or something, because it would be nice to see that ratio reverse, like that trend reverse.
Definitely, yeah.
But there's other factors at play as well. You have to consider Sack Wallets buying and all that sort of stuff. What's up, Finbear? Good morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are in the world. But Finbear, definitely morning. And spring is here. That's awesome. We're heading into winter, so we're in autumn. We're all good. Probably a bit knackered up this. Oh, it's 2 hours. We should probably wrap this up, man. I think everyone's going to be keen to see the PulseChain conference, the 1 year anniversary conference that we've got going on. So let's sort of bid everyone adieu, and then we can, I'm sure there's going to be so much content in the next week.
It's going to be
so many streams to watch, so much awesome content, a lot of good speakers and stuff like that. So yeah, definitely watch out for that. And thanks very much to the chat. Looks like everyone is last minute Icosa throwing it in there. All right.
This is because of this stuff. If you thought Icosa and Hedron was hard to get your head around at first, check out the I-burn diagram of everything that's going on there. It's a brain stirrer, that's for sure.
Awesome. I'll check it out, man.
I'll
yeah.
I'll put that in the. I can't post into the chat, but it's on RH Max's Twitter if you want to copy that into the chat.
That looks like you have put it in the chat, man.
Oh, has it? It didn't work.
Yeah.
Anyway,
okay.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. Anyway, just briefly, because we should probably wrap it up. It's been 2 hours. It does look like this has formed a bottom. So if you go log, and we're looking at this on the daily, how much liquidity is there? 50 grand. Oh, this is Hex, Icosa Hex. I mean, this is in dollars, but this is actually pooled with Hex. And that's interesting that that's the highest liquidity pool. Okay, but in terms of structure, like it made lower lows, and then it went on a tear. That was probably the announcement of that sort of version 2 of Icosa, I'm guessing. And then downtrend, looks like we have a bottom here and a potential support at 0.05, so 5 cents.
Yeah.
And
so
it's now
speculation over what was going on.
Now it's at 10 cents and it's making higher highs. Could be interesting. Look, I've got some Icosa. It's been sitting there for a long time.
And having a big liquidity bonding with Hex is good because we want it to bring Hex up, especially eHex, because the Icosa on Ethereum has moved heavily recently as well. So,
no, I think that could be good. I think Icosa, P Icosa, and same with the Hedrons and stuff like that. They could be an interesting play in the future, but that's just been so long, so that it's like we'll wait and see. And I think it might not be until maybe the end of the year before Alex brings out the V2 stuff. So that's like a long-term play.
Yep, exactly. Good stuff.
Yeah. thanks everyone. Thanks Javine, Finbear, everyone in the chat. Oh, KD, yeah, John, everyone, really appreciate the comments, and it's been fun. And definitely check out the PulseChain conference starting tomorrow.
Definitely,
I'll be there, and I'll be trying to pump us up.
Looking forward to seeing you on there. Cool, man.
Cool, man. Have a good weekend. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.
Catches.